people, and that tends to be through Scouts or Brownies in the UK, where people collect badges, and also they do very similar things in sports, with karate, where you move up different levels with belts. So we wanted to use systems that were already known to young people and try and make it appealing and apply to a maker education space. So to start off with the skill badges, these basically recognize when a specific skill has been developed in the space. We wanted it not just to be technical skills. So there are badges for, say, using a 3D printer, using a laser cutter, but we also wanted them to be quite adaptable for whatever space you're in, and also involve creative skills such as sewing and textiles, working individually, and a couple of other ones that we came up with was, say, workshop safety and cleaning, to try and motivate young people to be fully involved with the workshop space, as well as recycling. So, for example, you could gain that skill badge if you participated in an activity that used materials that were recycled rather than new materials. We see skill badges as being a way of acknowledging that somebody has achieved an activity that presents that they have a certain skill, but it also can help an educator to direct their activities. For example, we've given several examples on our Tinkercad account of different skills, and maybe you could think, actually, I haven't done an activity with this group of kids yet, which would allow them to work with textiles. And so this could help influence what you do next with a group. And the main thing about all of the things that we've created for the project is they're all open source and they're accessible through Tinkercad. Our Tinkercad profile is called DigiJeune, so you can search for us and people. All of the files, all of the designs are online, and you can download them and 3D print them in your space, or you can also laser cut them if you want them in wood. And the idea is that the designs are there and we have given an idea of how to start, but they're all adaptable and you can put in your own skills that you may be learning in your maker education. The second part is the competency badges. These were a way that we wanted soft skills to also be recognized, as well as technical skills that are more, you advance over time. We wanted a way to recognize that a young person continues to learn over a period of time. It's not just, say, I can use a 3D printer, I can use a laser cutter, but more, for example, coding, you progress throughout the learning experience, become more advanced and understand better. And so for the competency badges, there are 5 spaces on it where the young person can collect 5 stars, and each star recognizes a level. For this project, we developed 4, one for teamwork, one for community, and that's about engaging in the makerspace community. So helping your partner, or even helping makers online by publicizing an activity by writing in instructables. There's coding, and there's also creativity. The idea is, again, that they're modifiable, so maybe you have ones that are more appropriate to your spaces, but for these 4, in the guide that we've created, we have laid out specific things that the young person should have achieved to be able to gain the stars. Basically, we specified, okay, to get this level of problem solving, they need to be able to identify the problem, but then also break down the problem into its separate elements and talk to other members in their team about how they could solve it. Whereas number 5 might be more advanced, about actually drawing out some of their solutions and communicating it to other people, etc., etc. But more detail of these are all in the guide. So that's the competency badges. And then finally, we wanted there to be a bigger thing that basically really showed the young participant that they were advancing as a maker as a whole. So the skill badges and the competency badges were meant to be small winning prizes, shall we say, for them to collect along the way and for them to present upon themselves, as they can be attached to a little pin. and be worn. But the idea is that by collecting these, you're motivated because at the end, you can change the color of your level belt if you collect a certain number or if you're at a certain level at your competencies. A bit similar to, say, the karate belt. So we basically created this Mighty Maker level belt, and it uses an Arduino and RGB strips, so it can be programmed to light up in different colors. And the idea is that the different colors indicate the level of maker that the person is. Here we've just put it on a cuddly toy, but the idea is that they would be able to wear it or put their badges on it, and so forth. And in itself, it is a maker's activity. So even through completing the belt itself, you would be able to gain skill badges and competency badges that would allow you to light it up the first color. That's kind of the idea. So the Mighty Maker level belt, the Instructables, is online and it's available to make. And hopefully it's quite easy to follow with the step-by-step instructions for younger makers, though it does use an Arduino, so it's a little bit more complex. But basically that is the system that we've developed. And here you can see that in the guide, we have detailed all the different levels. So on the left, it's the table for the competency badges. So this is where there's up to 5 stars. And for the 4 competency badges, we have specified exactly what the young person should have shown. This is a good thing also to present to the young people themselves so that they know exactly what they need to do to get to the next level and can then recognize their achievement in doing so. And then on the right is the color coordinated belt. And this is very specifically about once you have achieved a number of skill badges or a number of level in the competencies, then you're able to be rewarded a certain color. The colors don't match up with a normal, say, karate belt colors, but this is just because the programming to achieve that color becomes a little bit more complex. So for example, the violet is the most hardest color to program on the belt. So that's why we did it that way. And that's pretty much it in terms of everything as a brief run through, but you're able to access everything online through the website. There's a downloadable guide with all of the information and explanation on when to use each of the items, and the designs are accessible on Tinkercad. So that's where you need to find us online. And yeah, they're completely modifiable and can be 3D printed in your own space.
So it looks great, and I think it's a very good idea to match with the things they know and connect there. With what age groups did you test this out?
So yeah, we did some pilot testing, mostly in Toulouse and mostly in the library. I think Simone was the workshop that you did them with, and yeah, it's mostly
with the youth center.
In the youth center. So we work with mostly 19 to 14-year-olds. Maybe you can say a bit more about that, Simone. That was sure.
Yeah, it was over about six workshops session, and the topic was building a programmable vehicle, classic Arduino based vehicle. And so there was an opportunity to deliver all sorts of badges, from woodworking, because we decided to create the chassis with wood and also use the CNC machine to cut it out, to other skills like programming, of course, and both visual programming and programming in C++ with Arduino, and also electronic prototyping. Yeah. And what we did is we announced at the beginning of the series of workshops that upon completion of these activities, the participants was going to be awarded this many skill badges and competency badges. So that's what we did in the end. We just prepared the sets of skill badges, competency badges with the different stars, and we delivered the exact same amount of skill badges and competency badges plus stars to each young person.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, like in general, our activities, they move around a lot, and it doesn't tend to be the same group of young people all of the time. So what we found has worked is more presenting at the beginning what they're able to achieve, and that they'll actually get a physical item by the end. But the belt itself would be something that you would do with groups that you know will be returning to a space every week. Maybe you do a more long-term.
I think I will try it out, because I in our makerspace we have on Saturdays we have a young makers club, and with 2 age groups, and Mark, my coworker, who gives the sessions to the young guys, has the problem that we work at that they can inscribe for different periods. So it's not an inscription for a whole year, but they take 3 sessions at a time every time, because we know parents don't always want to have the engagement for a whole year. So sometimes we have kids who already develop skills, and then others don't, and then drawing with Inkscape returns, and some people already know it, some not, and it's difficult for Mark to know where everyone is at, and we want to create more the makerspace feeling than the workshop feeling. So we want them to have projects of their own and be able to do things coming from themselves, not only content we lay down. So I will try this out. This might make it much more easier for my coworker to know what the level of the kids is, and maybe it will also grant them a sense of achievement and something to go home with, not only with the product, but also with I develop some new skills. So,
yes, because we also during one of our presentations we spoke to a guy, I think it was in Spain, and he had quite a good setup by the sounds of it, where the kids had a board and they put stickers on it, and so they continue to add. And so I guess also with the badges, basically when you print them out, they have a little hole in the back where you can put a pin, so you can attach it to your clothing or to the belt, was the idea. But also because you can modify the design, you could just create them a plaque. I think the guy from Spain was doing it out of like a piece of old wood that wouldn't be used anyway. And so then they can collect on this piece of wood. And so you can say to them, okay, you need to bring this piece of wood, or you need to bring your belt each time, so we can see what you've already done, so that you're not repeating. And it can, definitely should be a good way to recognize, okay, this kid has done this already, so we can work on something else.
Yeah, great. I will try it out. And we're also, but that's a different story. It's for teachers and makerspace trainers. We also have training programs, and we're also working on a program where we want to let them develop skills at their own speed and their own level. So we have an online portfolio system where they can learn new skills, but only the things they want themselves. And also for them, we also want to work with a system of giving them not certificates for they can laser cut, but when can you say you can laser cut? Laser cut and laser cut. So, but we just want to give them a hinge of I'm developing more basic skills for myself, so they have like the idea that their toolbox is growing, and for them we're also looking for a system. Now they get digital badges, but it works. But I think it's cool to see their skills.
Yeah, I think it's nice when you're in a makerspace to have something quite physical for them, and even for themselves. I think they find that very really nice, like something to show and be proud of, and that they take home and can bring back. And this thing
I think that's very important. And also for adults, I think it's important that they don't always need certificates and stuff like that. But if I do job interviews and I read curriculum vitae, and you have the degrees, and then you have the hobbies. Everyone likes food, traveling, and social contacts. But I would love to see like people having I developed these kind of skills. I don't need to see certificates and stuff, but just knowing people have that kind of lifelong learning mentality and learn skills without doing them to get a certificate duplicate, or just because to develop themselves would be much more interesting to see on a group of video. So I think also that would be the idea to give to the adults in the makerspace from everything you learn and gain is valuable, no matter what kind of recognition you have, but you still have to make it probable for them so they can reflect on it and say, yeah, I think that's good. So, okay. But I'm glad I saw your presentation. You inspired me with your project to go further in that alley on our own projects. But I have to run off because
no worries. I'm glad that we managed to time it so that you were able to.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much, and great success with the project.
Thanks.
Bye, Thijs.
Bye.
I recorded it from. I forgot to start the recording, but I did start.
And do you want to stop it now?
Yeah, let's stop it. Yeah. Okay. Let's say something silly before we stop it. I just did. Yeah.